Hello everyone, on today's presentation we will be learning about the dark side of interpersonal communication. What will we learn? We will be learning about destructive behaviors in relationships, negative communication strategies, how to notice and be aware of them, and we will be going through some types of aggression that can be shown in relationships. Starting off with destructive behaviors in relationships. These destructive behaviors can be manipulation, which involves influencing or controlling other person's actions into doing what they want. There's also physically and psychological aggression that can be very harmful in the relationship. Also, dishonesty. With dishonesty, it would be very hard to maintain the relationship. Jealousy. Jealousy can create a very toxic environment. Emotional neglect, which involves ignoring or minimizing the other person's needs or feelings. And miscommunication. Miscommunication can lead to many misunderstandings throughout the relationship, and it can be very destructive as well. Now, some negative communication strategies. Some negative strategies can be feedback defensiveness, which means getting very defensive when receiving feedback, not taking it the positive way, but the negative, and not seeing a helpful and a good path for improvement, because there's always improvement to do. Dismissiveness, which is very similar to emotional neglect. It consists of minimizing or ignoring the other person's feelings. Blame shifting, not owning up for your own actions, but shifting the blame into somebody else. And disrespect, which is a very common one and a very known one. Without respect, the relationship can be destroyed, and disrespect, it is considered a negative communication strategy. And then there's also passive aggressive behavior that can create again. Okay. Hello everyone. On today's presentation, we will be learning about the dark side of Okay. Sorry. Hello everyone. On today's presentation, we will be learning about the dark side of interpersonal communication. We will be learning about destructive behaviors in relationships. We will be learning about negative communication strategies, how to notice and how to be aware of them, and we will also be going through some types of aggression that can be shown. Starting off with destructive behaviors in relationships, these destructive behaviors can be such as manipulation, which involves influencing or controlling another person's actions into doing what they want. Also, physically and psychological aggression, it can be very harmful in the relationship. Dishonesty, it would be very hard to maintain a relationship with dishonesty. Jealousy can create a very toxic environment for both in the relationship. Emotional neglect involves minimizing or ignoring the other person's needs and feelings. And miscommunication can lead to many misunderstandings throughout the relationship. Now, some negative communication strategies. Some negative communication strategies could be feedback defensiveness, which means getting very defensive when receiving feedback, not taking it the positive way, but taking it the negative way, and not seeing the good it can help into improving. Also, dismissiveness, which is just as the same as emotional neglect, ignoring or minimizing the other person's feelings. There's also blame shifting, which means not owning up to your own actions, but blaming another person, shifting that blame into another person. Also, disrespect. It is a very common one and a very known one. With disrespect, there's no way the relationship could work, and it is as well considered a negative communication strategy. And passive aggressive behavior. It is negative feelings that are expressed indirectly through actions like sarcastic comments, silent treatment, and more like these. Now, how do we notice it? We notice these behaviors by pattern recognition, which means observing very carefully and realizing how often these behaviors happen throughout the relationship. And you have to be very open-minded to see that these behaviors that are happening very often are not okay, and you need to put a stop to that. Also, how do we prevent a negative communication strategy? We prevent these negative communication strategies by doing the total opposite, by having a clear and good communication. Also, having an active listening, making sure that the other person knows that you're listening to what they have to say, and you can make reassuring questions to let them know that you're listening and paying attention. Also, empathy, putting yourself in the other person's shoes to at least try to understand what they're going through. Also, boundaries. It is very important to set boundaries because all of us need our space. And respect. Always treat each other with respect and with kindness, even when disagreeing. And solutions. Focus on trying to come up with a solution rather than just trying to win the argument. Now, some types of aggression in relationships. Aggression can be shown in many ways, and these can be some of the ways. Relational aggression through confrontation. Behaviors that can be harmful by directly face to face. It can be name calling, cruel teasing, ridiculing, humiliating, and threatening. These behaviors can be very harmful, and it can make someone feel inferior, unheard, and it damages the person's well-being, which is why it is considered aggression. There's also relational aggression through non-confrontation, which means it doesn't have to be face-to-face directly. And these can be spreading rumors, gossiping, social manipulation, and this can also create isolation, anxiety, and even depression. And it can be just as harmful as physical aggression. Now, verbal aggression. Verbal aggression hurts self. It is like I have mentioned before, it can be comments and insults that can make a person feel bad, insecure, and less worthy of itself. We also have destructive communication, which consists of verbal behaviors through communication, such as spreading rumors, gossiping, or excluding a person from doing activities. Also, low self-esteem aggression. This means that a person that has very low self-esteem can show aggression towards others just to feel better about themselves. There is past influences aggressive behavior, which is that if someone grew up in an aggressive household, in an aggressive environment, this person is most likely to copy those habits and become an aggressive person as well. And then we also have acceptability that encourages verbal aggression. If someone influences another into thinking that being aggressive is okay and this aggression is normalized, and this person is actually believes the other person that is influencing, then the person will become aggressive as well. Bullying. Bullying, a very common, a very known type of aggression. It can be physical bullying. It can be shown through physical harm, punches, slaps, anything that involves physical. Relational bullying, it can be verbal aggression, and it can be spreading rumors, gossiping, and also excluding a person. Verbal bullying, threats, comments, name calling, teasing, and more. Cyberbullying, it is harm through screen devices, writing negative things to someone, texting negative things to someone, threatening, and all of these things can be aggression as well. Now, domestic violence or intimate partner violence. Intimate partner violence can consist in any physical violence, sexual violence, stalking, and physical aggression. Also, stalking, which is someone's actions that are like following, calling very frequently, texting very frequently, sending gifts, and more that can make the other person feel scared, unsafe, uncomfortable, and even threatened. Sexual violence can be unwanted sexual contact, or most known as rape. Power and control, the act of domination over another to show and portray power, and it can also be very aggressive. And conflict escalation. From an argument and conflicts, there's always a possibility for the argument to escalate and turn into violence. And this is all for the presentation. I hope that you guys understood everything, and the dark side of communication is just basically aggression shown through many ways. And yeah, that's it.